let's kick off with a question about the tough conversations, the hard ones. All right?
Yes.
So let's suppose, to take a scenario, I happen to be managing somebody who's recently become a tricky person in dealing with colleagues and with clients, and I have a sense they have personal pressures that are causing some trouble here in their lives. I would like this team member to know how they're coming across and that it needs to change. How should I start this difficult conversation? And maybe any thoughts on how I should go on once I've broached it?
Yes. Okay. So, I mean, there's sort of a simple, very simple way, and I guess quite easy to remember in starting a difficult conversation, is to start from the point that there are two stories. And that's a nice way to enter the conversation, because you would say to this person, I would like to talk to you about X. I have a take on what happened, but I'm sure you have a take as well. So I would like to share my story, and I'm very open to hearing your story. So that's kind of a nice sort of general, simple way to get into a difficult conversation. Just that acknowledgement of two stories, two takes on what happened or what's happening at the moment. Another nice way to get into those difficult conversations, it's not applicable to all, and this I would reference one of the models I use, or I refer to in the training, is a model called nonviolent communication. Now, in some ways, it's a bit of an unfortunate title or name for a model, because it sounds a bit extreme, like nonviolent communication. But it was developed by this guy, Marshall Rosenberg, and it's very much, it is this idea that, yes, a lot of communication is violent, maybe not necessarily in this sort of overt way where we are physically attacking people, but it is in the way we can use language, which can also be extremely hurtful and harmful. And so from that perspective, it's violent. So in terms of the model, where would you, and this connects to how you would start the conversation, is you start the conversation with expressing an observation. And maybe you might even go one step back and say, I want to talk to you about X, and then you express the observation. So, and what you've observed is this person's behavior, what they've done or what they've said. And the observation needs to be completely without evaluation, which is something else, because we're pretty bad at doing that. We're pretty bad at excluding evaluation from almost all our conversations. We always bring it in. But we start at this point of, this is what I saw happen.
That's hilarious, because as you say it, I want to start shouting, I'm not bad at that. I'm good at that.
Yeah, so I guess
proving your point. Anyway, carry on.
So you would observe as objectively as possible what is happening, what happened, or maybe it was something she said, so I do or say, you would express this. This is what I've seen happen. This is what I've heard. And then you would connect that, what you've observed, to how it's making you feel. So, for example, I've observed this colleague speaking rudely to clients, and I feel, and then you need to be very clear and succinct in what you feel. So maybe it could be, I feel embarrassed, I feel frustrated by this behavior, I feel maybe even angry.
Yes.
And what you've observed is the trigger for that feeling, but the feeling is in fact connected to a need or a value. And that's what comes next. So the feeling actually arises from a need that's not being met or a value that's being undermined. So I feel frustrated, angry, annoyed, because I value, for example, politeness. I value respect. I value cooperation. And that is the entry, because you are not blaming this person for your feeling, but you feel something quite strongly. There's no doubt about it. And you are owning that feeling, and which is, you have to express that way. You're not saying, I feel very frustrated by what you did. No, I feel frustrated because I value cooperation and I value politeness, and I've observed you speaking to clients in this fashion.